We're doing the intro again.
Hi there, Stuart across Ocean Fitness again, and today I have with me Mr. Kyle Gregg.
Hello.
Say hello, Kyle.
Hello.
There he is. All
That's me.
glory.
There we go.
Bit of backstory. I met Kyle at a wedding about 6 weeks ago, and got chatting. But Northern Ireland is such a small place that Kyle actually trained my wife Karen before our wedding about 4 years ago. So that's mad, isn't it?
Yeah, it was long ago,
Yeah. Karen, best client you ever had then, yeah?
Definitely the most fit.
Yeah.
And it was definitely just one of the first people I ever coached where I had to be like, right, put it back a wee bit here. Like,
Dial it in a wee bit.
and then I think that's when I started like really dialing into the niche with that's what I really wanted to work with, was people that like run the hamster wheel.
Yeah.
And it was like one of my guys at one point was doing 16 workouts a week, and I'm being in there but just making sure everything's just the right amount so he doesn't like overtrain to hurt himself. She was the first taste of like someone that actually would just push. Like if I told her to run a marathon every day, she would have done it. That was nuts. So it was like, you know, put it back.
She wouldn't do it if I told her. Just saying. She's probably not watching this anyway, don't worry.
Hell's the exact same. me and I've had this chat and I said to her, look, I can tell you what to do, but you'll not like that I'm trying to do. Like, Elle's the law and order in our house. Like, I happily admit Elle's the boss. She wears the trousers. But that makes, like, you know.
Better hope she's not watching this as well.
I probably will.
So do you want to tell us do you want to tell, it's my fault, I take responsibility if he says anything. Do you want to tell us a bit about yourself, your height, your weight, your age, where you're from, where you're living now, especially your height, because you're a bit of a giant and you've had to stoop down to come into this little office here. The first person to ever do that.
Well, I'm Kyle. I'm 6'5". I've been training 16 years now. I've been a coach, PT. I always go wind up and PT start calling themselves coaches. And I'm like, what makes the difference between you calling yourself PT?
Where's that line?
There's a huge difference between a PT and a coach. Always winds me up because PTs call themselves weird stuff. You know, it's like the leader of the Men's Muscle Project or something. You're like, shut up, you're PT. So I worked in commercial fitness. I was in Pure Gym for 5 years and then went fully online coaching. Lived near Jordanstown, Barrowby. I mentioned I'm 6'5".
6'5", yeah.
6'5".
Wow. Giant.
Yeah. Stooped down,
Shoulder. Trying through doorways.
All my friends were smaller than me too, so you grew up instead of being up here and I was like,
yeah, trying to fit in.
And then rugby was obviously like a big shock because I got back into playing club rugby. You play some teams and I'm the short one.
Yeah.
These Ballyclare fours, I don't know, always pops in my head because they have like 3 or 4 guys that are 6'7", 6'8", and I'm still like.
it's unnerving whenever you see someone who's like you meet someone who's taller than you, isn't it? You're sort of like, it's a bit weird, I think.
I am.
Sometimes.
You know, funny, I coached the guy, and he's always been the big guy. He was always big.
Yeah.
Like he wasn't like he didn't carry his weight well, but he was never like the huge gut kind of guy. He was just overall just a big dude, and he was known as the big, you know, the big lad.
Yeah.
He lost like 30 or 40 kilos, and then just started putting weight back on again. And it was just in his head, he was the big lad. But when he went out, he wasn't anymore. He was like the wee one. And he just freaked out. So I always think, I find, because in my head I'm the tall one and big lad, we're so big in here, it's a wee bit like, right? I'm not used to this. I'm not the big boy anymore.
No, it's a bit, sort of put in your place a bit. To get us going, we're going to play a little bit of an icebreaker game, so it's called overrated, underrated. I'm going to say a word or 2 words, and you're going to tell me, in your opinion, is it overrated or is it underrated? Now, you know, there's no right or wrong answer. You might create some enemies, but that's the worst that's going to happen.
Very opinion.
That's good. If you don't have an opinion, you might as well be dead. Know what I say? Yeah. That's what I say.
Like you either stand for something or you'll fall for anything.
Exactly. First one then is walking. Overrated or underrated?
I think walking's massively underrated.
Yeah.
Massively.
Yeah.
I'm a huge fan of 3 10-minute walks a day. The BBC did a study a couple of years ago and they found it was 2.5 times more effective for weight loss than a 10,000 step walk.
Yeah.
So instead of spending an hour and a half down and about in a circle, a 10-minute walk after every time you eat, spikes your insulin sensitivity so you don't get sugar rush, sugar crash, helps digestion. It's so beneficial. I got to the point I knew if my clients were doing it or not because you did lose on average about 2 extra pound a week. Yeah. Just from these 10 walks. It was nuts. Yeah. But I think walking definitely massively underrated. That's one of those things like if you in your worst possible day, if I say could you go walk the end of your street and come back, you still accomplish something. Whereas like going to someone, you know, you're really down, you're stressed out, you're fighting with your partner or whatever. Yeah. Can you go to the gym and do like weights for 45 minutes? It's like that's a big jump. It's like right, walk the end of your street. Walk the end of your street, you're done. You want to keep going, you can keep going. But I'm going to consider that's a day's of success now.
Yeah.
Plus, it's good for your head.
Yeah, it's good for the head. Like, just de-stressing and all of that. But I think it's one of those things. It's not spectacular. I mean, it's not spectacular. You don't put your walk up on Instagram and go, look what I did today. I did this walk. You know, and that's a nice photo review, but it's not spectacular like a heavy weightlifting session or doing something a bit crazy. But
it's not flashy.
It's I think you're right. I agree with that.
We call your man that does the Transformers, Michael Bay. Mm-hmm. It's like the weight sessions are like Michael Bay. There's just explosions everywhere, all this funky stuff. There's noises and grunting and muscles and protein shakes and all. You go for a dander and it's like, it's not really much going on, but it's so good. Like at my mum's house, we had 2 half Bernese, half Springers. So he taking them 2 for a while. He just didn't know. He just watched them. Just going nuts all the time. Yeah. But then you came back and you're like, I'm a good mood now.
Yeah, feel better.
Yeah.
Instantly. Yeah. Next one then. Formula 1.
I think this is massively overrated. It's such a dumb sport. Like, you just watch people go in a circle, and I appreciate how athletically fit the guys have to be to do it,
right? Yeah,
and the mechanics and all. But it's one of those things. Like, I don't feel like anyone can truly appreciate how good they are until you've done it.
That's right. Yeah.
So like in school, like we played football. It was like one of the sports played football, so I can appreciate a really good footballer because I know how bad I am.
Yeah.
But it's like when you're 14, you couldn't tell me someone's a good driver because you didn't know how to drive, so you can't appreciate how good of a driver they are. Nobody has the money to drive a Formula 1 car.
Exactly.
It's just like, oh, this is cool, or like the scene in golf. You know, like people go play golf and they're like, oh, yeah, I love golf.
Yeah, no, it's not accessible, is it? Like there's certain things. Okay, that some people might be really into them, but they're not very accessible, and you can't go and jump on it. Like, you might be able to go to a golf, get a golf caddy, I was gonna say, get all the golf equipment, right? You might be able to do that, save up, get your membership, whatever. You might be able to have a go at it, but you can't really do that. You can't go and get a reasonably priced Formula 1 car, can you? And just go,
golf is like, right?
There's no tracks.
If we're really bad at golf, we can go around, swing the wee stick at the ball, have a bit of banter, take like 6 hours to do 9 holes.
Yeah.
Actually, they used to play golf when I was wee with my granddad. But like, you're just chit-chatting, you're doing something. It's not like, it's like, oh, here, do you want to go Formula 1 today? We don't even Formula 1. The closest thing we do go-karting. I'm like, I don't know if you're going go-karting, but every time you're like, don't ram into each other. Like, mate,
that's exactly what's going to happen.
This is go-kart. This is Dodgems with a petrol engine. Like, my mate, this is Mario Karting around the back of his way. There's no holds barred.
That's a sport I can get behind. No, it's
like extreme dodgeball.
But yeah, I think I don't know. I just don't get, as you said, I have appreciation for it, but don't really have an appreciation for it as well. I would agree with that.
It has to be really fit and it's really skilled. But like, I don't understand.
Yeah,
it's like space. Like, it's cool, but like I don't know how. I don't know what an astronaut has to do. I don't know what it feels like in 0G. I have no idea.
It's cool in the movies, but you can't really appreciate. Yeah, I agree.
And you're like, let's go watch people drive in a circle for hours on end. And there's like microseconds of difference. And like,
even rally driving, I think, is a bit more closely associated because, like, we've all been in the car, we've all gone a wee bit fast.
Do you know what I'd love to do? I would love to be the navigator.
Yeah.
And
notes.
Like you're just sitting there and like
trying to read. I'd be thrown up.
Because I don't think I'm skilled enough at driving to actually drive the car.
Yeah, but you can read.
But I could be like, if I'd say like you'd done the course we're going to do loads, and like, okay, you're coming on, like, oh, I've got like a right bend come over, and then just be like, I would be really fun.
Can you read in the car though and not throw up? Because I would 100% vomit.
Oh yeah, I could be.
Yeah. Maybe it's for you. That's not a sideline for you.
I think I want to do it like once. But like, I think after you do it once, you're like, okay, right, that was way worse than I thought it was going to be.
I know, but I would hate to get blamed. If like the guy slid into like
the
ditch, then you'd be probably blamed because like, oh, you told me half a second too late what was coming, and then
split second.
Always blame the co-driver. Next one, I think I know the answer to this one, but the US Office. The television show.
Do you know what? I think this is a hard one because I think it is really. Because the question is overrated, underrated.
It's highly rated already.
Yeah, it's extremely highly rated. It's really quoted as well. Like, there's loads of memes that came out of it. I love it. Every second I love it. At the moment I have we're just started season 7. And I think it's alright. Still think it's great. But like, I'm loving it. I'm watching like the 3rd time through it. I'm still, every time something happens, it's just like giggling. Like, and season 7's like the season where it starts to go a wee bit off the rails.
Yeah. Whenever Michael Scott leaves that, like.
Yeah, and I'm just sitting there.
Will Ferrell comes in from nowhere.
Yeah, I'm just like, oh, it's about to go crazy, it's about to go crazy. And then Nell's like, don't ruin it for me, don't say anything. And I'm just like, oh, there's so much stuff about to happen. So good. And we're watching the Marvel movies too.
Do you find it hard not to quote? Like,
it's constantly. Yeah. I don't even realise I'm doing it sometimes. Elle threw me a US Office themed birthday party. And like, I did this weird thing. I don't know why I did it, right? But see if you give me. I was one of those people who just give you a gift. And you're like, oh, this is amazing, all of this sort, right? I'm one of those people, like, you have something like, oh, cool, thanks. And then 2 days later, I'm like, oh, it was really good. I have such a delayed reaction stuff, and Elle, like, struggles with it.
They take it in at that moment, you have to kind of process it. And
Elle really, I think Elle struggles with it sometimes, where she gets you something nice for it. Like, don't get me wrong, I really appreciate it, I love it.
That's cool, I'd say that was cool.
But it was like, it was the first time ever where I've just sat down, and I think Elle at one point something wrong with me, because for 45 minutes I was just sitting giggling to myself. I thought it was amazing. Like, just put the stapler and the jelly.
Brilliant.
I got a Dundee award. So good. What else? Like, see, like, it is your birthday. I wish Elle could have had a video of me and time lapsed it, but I'm genuinely about 45 minutes. I sat in the kitchen giggling, loved it. Every bit of it was
the attention to detail was superb.
Amazing.
Nailed it. Karen take note.
Yeah. Oh, you know, I have to do Elle's birthday next year, so I'm like, I need to figure out.
That'll be interesting.
Oh.
So, would you say that it is appropriately rated? Would you say that's, or would you say it's overrated?
I think it is adequately rated.
Just right.
It's exceptionally highly rated, and I think that's right.
Deserves it.
Yeah.
On another note, the UK office.
Terrible. Absolutely terrible. Oh, it's so bad. It's so monochromed. It's like, it was like the first season that had this concept. I thought, like, it wasn't great, but like you knew, like, okay, this could be good.
Yeah.
And the UK one, like, ran out of gas, and like, okay, we're done. It was very mundane. Like, the wackiness of a US office is what I think got it. It was like, okay, here's some scenarios that would pop up, but they've exaggerated them wildly. You know, like, oh, it's the incompetent manager. Like, everyone loves to say, oh, my manager's really incompetent. They're probably not bad.
Not as bad as that, yeah.
It's like one decision out of like 20 is really bad, but they maybe make 100 decisions a day.
Yeah.
Whereas like Michael Scott's obviously like, every decision's just totally wrong, but it all works out in the end.
Yeah.
And you're sitting there, like, you'd be in work in some place and be like, yeah, manager's like an idiot, I have no idea how it works. And then at the end, he just got lucky. Do you know, whereas the UK office, I just thought was really like dull. I just don't think they found like their own stride, their own way to do it. So I think it's overrated.
Yeah.
Even if it was like rated really low, I still
think too high. Yeah, I agree. Next one, sirloin steak.
So I did a thing called the vertical diet for quite a while. I'm a huge red meat fan. Huge red meat fan.
Yeah.
I just think sirloin steak is underrated.
Yeah.
Even if it was like 99 out of 100, I'd still say it's underrated. It's much more bioavailable than like chicken or turkey. It's easier digested. You know, it's like higher protein availability. Like, you need fats to absorb protein. But people eat like a bodybuilder, eat chicken, broccoli, and rice. Like, the only reason a bodybuilder eats chicken, broccoli, and rice because there's nothing in it.
Yeah.
Bar the bare macronutrients.
Yeah.
Whereas, like, we need the micronutrients, and the micronutrients, like, red meat has so much
vitamins and iron, and
and this, especially, like, I talk about any girls that I coach, I'm like, it's especially important for you to get B vitamins and iron, because obviously they lose a lot of it with the menstrual cycle. It's like, it's so important. Both of them are linked to lethargic like symptoms, like low energy stuff. So you talk to like girls, I'm like, just really unmotivated and sluggish feeling. Oh, like, okay, can I drink red meat? Oh, I don't really eat red meat. I'm like, and then
part of it.
Yeah, I'd say at least 1 out of 3, 1 out of 2, maybe. You're like, oh yeah, I'm on like I'm on like iron supplements or iron things from the doctor. I'm like,
eat more cows.
Maybe. Or they could be like, oh, eat loads of spinach. I'm like, eat like a kilo of spinach a day. Like, you know.
I think a lot of guys underrate it, and I think a lot of girls think it's overrated. I think.
Yeah, I think it's seen as like a manly thing. Like, you go and you get a big steak, and I'm like, there's loads of wee things like that in fitness. I think fitness is one of the weirdest industries where everything has been labelled and put into a category when it's not like that. Even with sets and reps, like, I'll talk to some of my guys and like, oh, I couldn't do 12, so I did 10. I'm like, see, to be honest, when you actually look at programming at a really advanced level, it's a relative intensity. So if I say 75%, anything between 65 to 85 is probably alright. Yeah. And anything between 5 and 20 reps is probably, it's all it doesn't really matter. Yeah. The reason we say this like percentage of this weight, this many sets and reps, is we're controlling all like as many variables as we can. Mm-hmm. But you can get away with so much.
Yeah. As long as you're doing the work and you're doing consistent.
You can do the same weight for a long time, but get stronger. Yeah. It's just, I think it's one of them ones where it's just labelled as like, oh, the boys eat the steak. I'm like, no, girls eat steak. Girls have the steak. Oh, the boys do strength. No, everyone does it. Everyone does it, you know. Yeah.
And it's arguably more important for girls than guys, because guys generally have an advantage when it comes to strength. whereas girls don't. Girls have to.
It's actually fascinating. Girls gain muscle and strength at the same rate as men, but they start with a lower maximal level of muscle and strength. Obviously, just because they're proportionally different.
Yeah.
One of the things I remember bringing up in a course when I was in Pure Gym was one of the guys like, oh, should men and women train differently? Obviously, he was getting at this.
Yeah.
You know, men use the barbells and the dumbbells and all that stuff, and the girls have like 1 kilo weights and do like the silly kicks on the machines and stuff. He's like, should they train different? And everyone's like, yes, well, they should definitely train different. I'm like, no, they shouldn't. It's like, women aren't just little men.
Yeah.
You know? And then it's like, you realise men and women literally do have different muscles.
Yeah.
He's like, what are you talking about? And I was like, well, obviously your wife's never had kids. And you're like, no. It's like, well, men's pelvis is in one piece, women's come in two. Yeah. And there's muscles to hold that together. Yeah. And like, everyone here knows the importance of how strong your core needs to be. Like, yeah. Now, you imagine your core now isn't just one solid piece, it's two. Yeah. And I'm like, this is a whole different ballgame, like. Yeah. And then you've like women that have had C-sections, that just impact so much stuff. And it's like, women aren't just little men. Mm-hmm. Strength training for women is also, with the menstrual cycle, is fascinating. Because you have different peaks in your strength throughout the month and like how you plan deloads and ramping training and stuff. Yeah. Men were relatively easy, just linear progression, 12 weeks, add more weight. Yeah. You ever feel run down, have a beer, have an extra like bit of meat or something, you'll be alright. Where women, it's like, okay, every fourth week we know we're going to feel run down. More consideration, yeah. 2 weeks after that's going to be your strongest point, so I'm going to train a ramping training, peak into that, easier weight, bump your calories up to this. Like, well, it's so much more interesting. Yeah. And I think women are better to coach. I think men have an ego.
But a lot of men come in already having a bit of a background in lifting, whereas now there's more women coming and they don't have as much of a background in lifting, because remember that maybe they avoided the weight section. You know, it's just
big scary man.
That's common, yeah. And that's quite common. As guys kind of grew up bro lifting and doing pro sessions, and whether it was right or wrong, they did the sessions.
We grew up in a rugby gym with an iPad, and it's like, see, you're in the gym at least 2-3 times a week. Your name wasn't on this like wee iPad scanner thing. Yeah. You weren't playing, so it was like we had to just train. But then obviously the girls were like playing hockey or doing something else. But the boys was like, you need to put weight on. Yeah. I think there's so much stigma around it. And the biggest thing that I love now is women. There's a huge movement for now. Women want to do strength. Women want to be feeling powered, not skinny. Yeah, and I'm loving it. I think it's brilliant.
Yeah. Healthy.
Yeah,
it's a healthy goal.
Like everyone, one of the girls that I coach, Elle's sister Anna, she did a TikTok yesterday, and she was eating like 1,850 calories odd. And I guarantee there's loads of women message her now, being like, "You can eat that much food and lose weight." I'm like, yeah, you don't need to starve yourself. Yeah. It's like once you're training, like she's one of the most dedicated women I've ever seen. Yeah. Like just does it. Yeah. I remember chatting to her about food at the start. I was like, "Can you eat that much?" And I was like, "Yep."
It's hard for people to get their head around, though. Yeah. If they've always been used to like 7 more weight watchers, blah blah blah.
That's exactly it.
And just like depriving themselves. Not even like their calorie deficit. It's just deprivation, really. Next one. We're caught up on that one. Coldplay, overrated or underrated?
I think overrated.
Yeah, I agree.
But like, I'm quite weird. My music tastes really odd. Like
I don't mind about your music taste, by the way, so I was just throwing. These are quite random. I knew about The Office, but all these other ones are kind of.
My music taste is quite odd, and I feel like it's one of those middle of the park. Nobody really hates it, and because nobody hates it, then people think it's hipster to like it. Like, oh no, I'm going to Coldplay concert. I'm like, you really love them. Yeah. It's like
everybody's doing it, so
yeah, it's like
it's popular.
Yeah, it's like you're just saying it because all the popular kids want to do it. It's like they're not great. They're just not terrible. It's like elevator music or like on the radio. It's like meh. It's like 4 to 6 out of 10 music. Whereas like I might wake up and think, you know what? See today, hardcore battle raps 10 out of 10 to me. The next morning I'll listen to jazz. The next morning you listen to like EDM stuff. The next morning it might be nothing. But at least when you do it, you love it.
Yeah, you're into it.
Nobody diehard loves Coldplay.
No, nobody's gonna sell their granny for Coldplay, are
there? Like, you can sell your firstborn to go to a Coldplay concert, but like on the right day you catch me, I'll probably sell my firstborn to get into like whatever thing I really love. I promise I'd never sell a firstborn now.
Disclaimer.
That was a joke. I'm sorry.
Yeah, this is gonna be on the internet forever. This video, so
that's the thing.
The evidence is there.
Oh well.
Next one, BMWs.
I'm not a big car person.
But you know, they're really highly rated, I would say. Generally.
Well, it's... No? BMWs and Audis are like the company car. Mm. You know, if we and you were like, let's go get really nice BMWs, and we're like, yep, sweet, we spent all this money, got them the way we like them and all, there's going to be thousands of just average dudes that work in like a desk and they're told, yeah, pick a car, whatever. Yeah. And they always pick... It's like an Audi A4 and like a BMW 3 Series or something. Like, I'm like, nah, whatever. Like, I drive a Polo, and the only reason I got it was had a stupid computer screen in it. And I'm like, yep, sweet, I'm comfy in it. It's really economical. It goes 0 to 80. Like, I think my car's like a 0.95. But like, you wouldn't know.
Yeah.
I think it's like economical. If it had a cool computer screen, sweet. My next car, I want to get a Ford Ranger, because then I won't have, because I'm tall, I don't have to like slip down. I think the boots coat. I'm very slowly convincing Elle to get a big dog.
Yeah, that'd be perfect.
Elle wants a wee tiny wee thing.
You want a big? Do you want a big dog?
Like I'd love like a male Bernese called Benjamin.
Yeah.
Elle.
Just
I've named him Benjamin.
It's like asking Santa Claus here in your order for Christmas.
I know.
Christmas morning, there's going to be one there.
At one point, I wanted to get a Tiberian Mastiff. These things are like the size of a donkey, but I found out they're nocturnal.
Really?
They're nocturnal. They're like shepherd dogs. Like they sleep in a field with a bunch of sheep, but they like stay up all night howling and fight with wolves.
That's all you want.
It's mad. I think it's like that high. They're like 4.5 feet tall. They're huge. Yeah. Literally, you could probably mount one. Like a small person could mount them and like ride them in the battle.
Brilliant.
Overrated, massively overrated. I think
dogs are
the BMWs.
BMWs, okay. That's fair.
Dogs are always underrated.
Dogs are underrated. Yeah, correct. Next one, the weather forecast. You know, like the TV, like it goes on after the news. The weather forecast. Everyone's shh. Or watch the weather. Overrated and underrated.
I actually think all the news is propaganda. So I don't actually listen to any of it. Really, to actually think about it, right? Who runs the BBC? Want to make money. What makes money?
It's a business.
Like this horrible thing's happened. Everyone will pay attention quick, and then the next day, this horrible thing happened. Look at this. It's every day. Like the sky's falling every single day.
Whereas this night is good things are happening.
Yeah,
there's a wee bit of interest for a minute, but then it's like back to the bad news.
Yeah, and it's like Trump was probably a good one. Whether or not he was good or bad, I don't know. But like, if you don't like Trump,
he made headlines. You can't take that away.
Yeah, you're gonna tune in. If they're gonna bash Trump, you're gonna tune in. Or if you love Trump, if they're gonna say good things for Trump, you're gonna tune in. So anyone that's polarizing in any way, and then the media's gonna spin everything. Yeah. But like the weather's like, whatever. Like it's like your phone.
It's so I don't find it so like inaccurate though, and like.
Do you know what?
People prioritize. Shh, everyone be quiet. The weather forecast. You know, they'll shush a whole room to get watching the weather forecast.
Do you know the percentage?
Like,
you know what?
On your phone.
The percentage isn't like 70% chance of rain. It's the area that we're talking about is covered in 70% rain. Yeah. There's a 30% area in there.
Yeah.
So you could be on like 5%, but your area is the 5% that's going to get the rain. They're not saying there's a 5% chance.
Yeah.
They're saying 5% of the area is getting rain.
Yeah.
I think that's one of the biggest misconceptions about it.
Yeah.
It's like it's not a chance of rain. It's saying there's 100% chance of rain in 5% of the area. Just hope you're not in the area.
Or the weather presenter will be showing you the wee map, and there'll be like a cloud and a bit of rain coming out. It's just like 5 or 6 dots dotted over Ireland, and you're like, oh, see, Korean's getting a bit. Ballymena's fine though, and it's like, well, how big is that cloud? You know, like I don't know. It's a funny one.
See, I quite like the rain.
You like it?
I quite like the rain. I play rugby, so
you're in the right country.
Oh, yes, brilliant. See me at them heat waves too. Oh,
don't like it.
I went on the coaching call with a bunch of like Americans, and they were looking at me, and I was just sweat everywhere. It was like 27 degrees or something. I was like, "What's wrong with you?" I was like anything over like 18 is like too much. I was like, I go on holiday and it's colder than this. Like, this is nuts. So I'm a big fan of like
cool,
like the neutral.
So it's your fault the heat wave went away, basically. Yeah. You're admitting that.
Oh, I'm so happy it went away.
Next one then, barbells, overrated, underrated.
I think some populations overrate, and I think other populations underrate. I think people that play sports almost overrate barbells. And what I mean by that is like people that want to coach athletes and stuff, or like powerlifters, overrate them massively, because I think there's a lot of benefits from like the dumbbells or suspension stuff, and machines always have their place. And then I think the likes of the people that go to like classes and do bodyweight stuff, for like the big comforters, some worldly kind of people, very much underrate. Yeah. And I think fitness is one of those extreme places where you 100% do one thing. Mm-hmm. So like I love like powerlifting, started training for years. So I was like, oh, barbells are the best. Yeah. And then you kind of go, oh, here, I've got a bunch of niggles. I should have done some unilateral training, or I should have done like more of this. Yeah. Or like I would make the coaches loads of mobility bodyweight stuff, and I was like, you know, if you had a bit of barbells, I think you'd almost have a perfectly well-rounded thing. But then he'll go to me, oh, if you had a wee bit of mobility, and I was like, yeah,
fair point.
Yeah, fair. And I think like loads of people just have their own wee way, and I think most people don't really care.
Yeah.
Like people want to feel better, want to look a bit better naked. Like they don't really care how you do it. Like you know, it's like nobody really.
It's a means to an end.
Yeah, these are just tools in the toolbox. I think some people think this is the best tool. You got the guy that's like, okay, the saw is the best thing in the world. And the next one's like, well, the hammer's the best thing in the world. Like, well, the saw's going to be useless if you want to put a nail in the wall.
Yeah.
Do you know, I think it's like that.
I like a barbell though, but simply because it's like, say you're doing bench press, right? Compared to dumbbell bench press or squatting, right? Squatting, it's like perfect ergonomic tool to squat with, right?
Yeah.
Like, you can do other things, but eventually the dumbbells get so heavy that holding them up here or holding them here gets too much for the arms. So you can rest it on your back, you can set it on your shoulders. I like that. Like, I think that's a really good aspect of a barbell. Whereas even like bench pressing, like it gets to the point where the dumbbells are so heavy, and the hardest part, the most dangerous part of it's getting them up to here. Whereas barbell, off the rack.
I think it's one of those things as well. It's like I can't remember off the top of my head, but there's a whole bunch of training variables. Say, argument's sake, it's 8 training variables. Mm-hmm. Well, if you use maximal intensity, i.e. the weight on the bar, it's very easy to control that with a barbell. Yeah. Whereas the dumbbell, it's very difficult to do that. Yeah. Whereas if you were someone that played around with like how many reps you do, you can use the barbell as well. Where if you play around with say range of motion, dumbbells you're gonna get a better range of motion. Body weight stuff you can do that too. And those guys play that. And I think it's just as a coach, whatever you're most comfortable with, or an athlete, what you're the most comfortable with is what you're gonna do. Yeah. I.e. like prison workouts doing push-ups. Yeah. Well, them guys don't have barbells and stuff. Well, the Sims don't have barbells, but probably do. Yeah. But if you're doing like, okay, I do 200 push-ups today, tomorrow I'll do 205 push-ups. Yeah. That's their method of progression. So year down the line, they're gonna like, I got great results doing this. Yeah. You should do this, which is my problem with fitness industry. Yeah. You got
at different stages as well. I think like if someone's complete novice, like a barbell might like legitimately be too heavy for them initially to lift the actual barbell. If it's 20 kg or 15 kilos, that might be too heavy for them to start with. So it makes sense for them to do maybe lighter dumbbells to start off, and then build them up to push-up, half push-ups, to get to the point where they can do something else. So yeah, I think you're right. Like a one size fits all is rarely.
Fitness is one of the most annoying industries, I think, because everything works, but not for everyone. Yeah. And the problem is there's so many people who have done one thing and it worked for them. It's a
blanket thing.
And then they're like, oh, you must do this. Yeah. So if I did keto, say, for 12 weeks, and did all bodyweight boot camps, and I lost loads of weight, felt really good, and you came like, I want to get fit as well.
What did you do?
Yeah. So I'm like, right, you have to do this. Or if I did like the chicken broccoli and rice, fasted cardio every morning, and then you did your 12-week beasting, 12-week PT course thing, then you went and done your like weekend course to be a PT. Now all of your clients go, right, I want to do what you did. Right, here's what I did: chicken broccoli and rice, fasted cardio in the morning. That's what you have to do. Yeah. Whereas I think once you get more and more into coaching, you kind of realize everything kind of works.
There's a place for everything, like most things.
Some of my replies to my clients are really funny. Like one of my guys a while ago sent me like a 5-minute voice note talking to me like, "Oh, we're gonna get a Chinese. Should do extra cardio. Should up the steps. Like, should double up in fitness sessions. To whatever." And then I think I said in the back, "Well, mate, I get salt and chili chicken, but like, I don't really like honey chili chicken." And then chow mein something. I don't know. It kind of depends what you like. What do you really like? And Chinese is like what like should I do? Like should I not eat carbs there? Like, I just enjoy it. Like,
different flavour.
Yeah, it's
I think they're overthinking it and overcomplicate it. And if it's your one takeaway, like once a week or once a month or whatever.
I actually have a girl that only eats takeaways.
Oh, that's it. Yeah. It's just once a day.
And if you're listening to this, we're currently 4 weeks in, and you've yet to track a bit of food. And the next time you text me saying you've lost weight again, I swear I'm gonna crack up. But she's had so much barbell strength training, built her muscle mass up, and her metabolism's so quick now. Yeah. She gets away with it like next to nothing, and then you come on like, and then she's like, oh yeah, so I lost my weight. And you're
what kind of age is she? Is she in her 20s still, or like?
Aye, she's sorry if I get this wrong. She's 23, 22, 23 kind of age, but like, but it was essentially like, I think fitness is compounding. A little bit of effort, consistently over a long period of time, like a 4 to 10 effort. Couple of times a week over a very long period of time, you're going to end up in a much better place rather than the 100% for 12 weeks.
Bust yourself. Yeah. Burn out. Get bored.
There's like
stop it altogether.
Yeah, and you get like messages. I mean, I went really easy in the gym and all. Is that okay? Or, like one of my new clients, I thought I was going to crack up at her because she could only do 2 sessions instead of 3. And I was like, yeah, that's sweet. Yeah. And she was like, oh, I thought you'd be really annoying. Like, but like this is the whole purpose is like this should be easy. Keep it really easy.
Do something you can consistently do instead of. Yeah, absolutely.
Well, one of John Goodman's things like 1 workout out of 10 is going to be good.
Yeah, the rest of it.
So like, why would I want to program and expect every one of your workouts to be good? Yeah. Well, let's look at your worst workout and say, okay, you can guarantee me this. That's what I'm going to play with. Yeah. Everything above that is a bonus. Yeah. But then all of a sudden, you got this idea. Oh, I did an extra session this week. oh, I'm doing really good, and it's this positive all the time. Oh, you're doing really well. You're like in school. If you went to maths and your maths teacher, you're doing really good.
Yeah.
Maths is now my favourite subject. Now I'm like,
it's your favourite one, is it?
Well, this is exactly what happened. Like, you know, it was, I wouldn't say I was good at maths, but like I would listen a bit more and it made more sense. But the teacher was like giving you corrections, you did better. And you're like, oh, you're doing really good. You made the corrections, yeah, well done. Whereas the English, where I was really bad at, you know, if you had negative reinforcement, I'm less likely to try. Mm-hmm. But if the positive reinforcement over a longer period of time, you know, so like in the gym, like you're going over and beyond positive reinforcement over a long period of time. That's become something you like to do. Yeah. You enjoy it. If you're going easy, you can socialise a bit more. Yeah.
More balanced. Like I don't know about you, but I don't train any professional athletes. So like you can't expect people to have professional athlete discipline all their life, and whenever they're working with you, it's just not going to happen. Everyone's got a life to live.
One of my friends is he's this Olympic swimmer for Scotland.
Okay, take it back then. Maybe you do.
Oh no, I don't coach him. Like I remember seeing, I went down for dinner with him like 2 years ago, and seen his like S&C program. It was the most fascinating thing I've ever read. But the guy wakes up, trains, eats, sleeps. That's his profession. Yeah. Whereas like I would draw out a pie chart with someone when we were having this talk. And we're like, okay, how much energy does your work take? And you're like, okay, half. Right, okay, sweet. You're 50% left. How much does your partner take? How much does your friends take? The end of it going, right, you got like 15%. So your maximum you can give to the gym here is 15%. That's maximum. No room for anything else. Mm-hmm. Whereas like, yeah, like I worked at a gym, so like super easy for me to go to the gym. Like I train in the gym, I live in the gym all the time. Yeah. My friends are here, my profession's here. Everyone in the gym's eating healthy. Yeah. Like I could dedicate 80% of my energy happily, and it wouldn't faze me whatsoever. So I can put 4 times, so maybe 6 times as much effort in as you can. But you want to do what I do. That's why it doesn't. You know, I think there's this disconnect. Whereas the swimmer's body dilemma, it's like I enjoy the gym. My friends are in the gym. I socialise in the gym. I enjoy doing it, and I'm giving effort to someone that hates doing it, puts loads of effort in, gets less results and progress from what they're doing. But I'm telling them to do what I. They're just total disconnect. You know.
Yeah, it's true. It's a good point. Last one, Australia, overrated or underrated?
I don't get it. No. I just don't get the Australia thing.
Everyone wants to go to Australia, don't they?
Yeah, I've heard before as well. Like you go, apparently you go over there and it's like a mini Belfast. There's just like
Irish people everywhere.
Yeah, it's just everyone that's went over here all apparently goes. And
you know someone.
Yeah, and they all kind of live in the same wee bit.
Yeah.
And I'm like, so you just traded where you're at now for somewhere sunny, like that.
We have some Australian listeners, by the way.
Oh yeah.
Podcast, and, like.
I've never been.
I've never been either, but it's a perception I think you get, isn't it?
I went to the south of Thailand and loved it, but when I was like very much ready to come back, I was like, okay, I'm done with this.
That's it.
It's too much, you know.
I suppose it's Western, isn't it? Like it's home from home in some ways. Better weather, more dangerous creatures, more extreme weather, and all that.
I like go. Yeah, so like I remember having this discussion with someone a while ago. I was like, right, Australia, everything can kill you. Everything. You see a spider, you're done. Run, burn the house down. Yeah. Over here, if I see a spider in the house, I'm like, oh yeah, sweet, whatever. Yeah, I'll be alright.
Let go.
Yeah. New Zealand, on the other hand,
nothing
kills you in New Zealand.
Really?
Yeah. Well, don't quote me on it, but there's a lot less things that kill you in Australia. Yeah. It's just as pretty. Do you know what I mean? You can. There's loads of stuff you can do there as well, but nothing kills you.
Yeah. Like we said, it's close. It's not that close, but on the map it looks close to us because we're so far away.
In my head, like South Africa, because of rugby, I think South Africa, Australia, New Zealand, they're all like super close. And then when you actually look at it, I'm like, wow, okay, really,
yeah.
I think overrated. I haven't been though.
Yeah, I'm not saying overrated based on my perception of it, but again, I'd like to be there to confirm that.
You talk to someone. Yeah, I went to Australia and I had 100 people on the same street as me. We're all from the same place. We all knew each other. Like half of us went to uni together. And like
we're great towns now, though.
Yeah, and I'm like, oh yeah, you really went and travelled there. You really like outdid yourself. Yeah, wow. Whereas like someone's going, oh yeah, I moved to like Japan. I had to learn Japanese. And I'm like, okay, you actually emigrated.
Yeah. Different food, different symbols, different culture.
Yeah, everything's totally different. Like different philosophies, different religion. The way society works are totally different.
Yeah.
Even Australia, it's like. It's here, but
good day, mate. It's just a different accent,
yeah,
isn't it?
Here, but the same. It's actually.
Okay, I'll tell you what, they're all really tall in Australia, so you would fit in pretty well.
Do you know how like the British Empire used to send prisoners to Australia?
Yeah.
And that's how like it got populated. And I was like, that would explain why their social norms are so like aggressive and like
forward and
they're known for like swearing loads and all. Like that would make sense. So, you know.
Yeah, all prisoners. No offense if you're Australian and you're listening to this, but Okay, we're probably like halfway through this, but like to get us started, do you want to tell us a bit about your background on like fitness and nutrition and things like that, or how you kind of get into it?
Right, so I started fitness when I was 11. We had loads of stuff going on in our house, and I was starting rugby, and I was like, right, you need to put weight on. And I wanted to put weight on, get bigger, stronger, this whole thing.
Yeah. Were you quite tall as a child, or were you quite small and thin?
I was tall, but it wasn't like 6'5" in first year.
Yeah.
I couldn't even guess what height was, but I was tall. I was quite skinny. And I remember playing your first match in rugby in secondary school, and it was like there was like 6 teams out.
Yeah.
And I remember I started on the E team and did something, and then they put me into the B team, and then I just remember the coach was like, "You need to put weight on." I was like, "Yeah, okay, that's it. Yep, that's me."
What did you do to bulk up then? Did you?
I
from training like you.
I done everything. The man. I used to have. It was a mammoth protein. It was like a shovel. I used to fill 3/4 of a protein shaker, and you poured whole milk into it, and it was like clay. It was like putty. And you had to drink some, and then you were almost like swallowing it. It was like whole. And
protein shakes back then were disgusting, they weren't they? Like, I remember.
I think there's sawdust or something
in
mammoth.
Flour in them. Yeah. That's horrendous. I remember getting some from Argos, and they were rotten.
This was a proper bucket.
Yeah,
it was like it was like a plaster's like thing.
Horrendous.
I remember Jack 3D came out, and then to find out there was like amphetamines or something ridiculous in it. You used to take it, go to the gym, and you just train like you went nuts. You'd be set up for like 3 sets of 8, and you do like 20 sets of 20. You did something stupid. Came home and then just crashed. I'll never forget the crash. You come in, just sit down and be like, alright, just clean out cold. I wouldn't feel tired, nothing, anything. Yeah. So I always remember you talked to the trainer for a while, and I remember Jack 3D, the original formula, and like, it was just dangerous. Like people were taking it and going on a night out. No, it was just nuts.
So was there pre-drinking kind of thing? Just drink some of that. So protein shakes, that was the main way kind of.
Oh, it was like loads of home, like loads. I tried. I remember botching cooking rice one time. I was like, okay, I'm gonna eat 2 cups of rice, not knowing they meant 2 cups of cooked rice. Yeah, that's a lot of like. It starts small.
Yeah.
But I was like,
everybody's done it. Everybody's like, just put a bit of rice in there, and the next thing there's like a family of 6 portion there.
Popcorn.
One. Yeah. Just keeps going. You have to bin it all.
So I was a big YouTube person. Like I never been big on TV. I always watch YouTube for like entertainment and all. But I'm obsessive about stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I got hyper fixated on certain things, and like obviously put weight on. I was like I watched everything. Man, chicken, broccoli, rice, blending stuff.
So even at like 11 or 12, you were still like throwing all the food?
I think at 11 or 12, it was kind of like went to our like school rugby gym. It wasn't like crazy.
Yeah.
But like you train for a wee bit, on and off, you PE classes and stuff like circus and stuff. And we didn't know any better. Yeah. I actually remember what was it called. It was some men's health circuit, and I'm convinced that it was just our rugby coach at the time wanted to do it himself. So he made us do it every Friday, and that was what he did. But it was like a wee circuit, and you like renegade rows and push ups and all, and like bicep. We were great. It was class.
And did he do it with you, or was it?
Oh yeah. Like him and one of the other PE teachers did it with us, but it was like them two just wanted to do it.
Yeah.
Now they definitely wanted to do it.
You can do it if you want, but we're doing it anyway.
But I did like loads of that stuff. Then I got into Strongless 5x5. Actually, I got into it. I remember watching like all these like videos and stuff. And, like had this idea in my head. Like Wednesdays was my deadlift day. Mondays was like squat and something. And then like Thursday was uppers. Whatever it was. And then when I was in school, like my mum used to sign me up for everything. Like, see if you were like whatever was wrong, exercise. So I used to. Yeah, I used to like go to gym Monday morning, come home on a Monday night, go to boxing training. Tuesday was rugby in the gym. Wednesday was like something. Then like, every day I had like 2 things
on.
I was just training all the time. And as I got a bit older then, I remember deadlift day. It became a bit of a joke in the fitness first. There was some girl was getting PT'd every Wednesday at like 4, and I would come in every single Wednesday. I was supposed to be about 6 months. I was doing this every single Wednesday. I would come in and I would try to lift 142.5 kilos every single week. Every time, giving the beans. Pre-workout, I tried doubling pre-workout. I tried wearing a belt. I tried using wrist straps. I tried lifting it quick.
For 1 rep, so you're trying to...
Yeah, I was just 1 rep max every single week. Every single week. It's like 14, 15-year-old kid was like everything. Everything in the man.
That's a good bit of weight to be shifting at 15 or 14. That's incredible.
I don't know, 3-4 years into this point. Yeah. One of our backs...
That's a good going.
One of the guys in school, he played fullback or something for us. I think he deadlifted like 250 or something ridiculous.
Oh, what age? 15?
This might have been a bit later on, but I just remember it was something insane. He was really explosive. I think he was doing something like athletics, and like people were actually telling him what to do and all. But obviously, I was just like full on winging it. I was like, this dude does it on YouTube, so I'm gonna do it. I always remember this one. Like, there was a semi-pro strongman in the gym at the time, and he was like, "Mate, why don't you do 100 kilos for 5 sets of 5?" I was was like, I'll do that. He's like, because then you do it, add a bit of weight, and eventually you'll be lifting like 180, no sweat.
Yeah.
So that was my first introduction to programming.
Yeah.
I remember it working and be like, whoa, okay.
Yeah.
Right. There's something here. Then that started this new fixation. We were doing a program called Strong Lift 5x5. There's a Swedish guy, Medini. I think that's how you pronounce his name. And it was like A and a B workout. And I was like, squat, bench, barbell row. The next day was squat, shoulder press, deadlift. 5x5. A, B, A, B. If you want to do 5 days a week, so it's A, B, A, B. 3 days a week, A, B. That was what it was.
Just kept going.
I did that for like a while. Did the whole like protein shakes, drinking whole milk, trying to eat everything. And I burned it this mind. My mum was trying to like fund me trying to do all this stuff. So we were going home one day and it was like turkey dinosaurs, and then the next day it was like, oh, I eat chicken and rice, and you give up on stuff and then you come back to it and all. Then at one point I wanted to join the Marines, and they told me, right, do CrossFit. That was like 10 years ago. So I did CrossFit before it was cool.
Yeah.
When I did CrossFit, it was just as gymnastics became a thing. No one in the gym I was at could do a muscle up.
Yeah.
I remember watching the guy try and the first guy I know to do a muscle up. We were sitting there trying to watch him get it.
Was that CrossFit like Reebok 1 or something?
Reebok, it was the OG one.
Yeah, yeah.
And I was like, I always remember my biggest pet peeve with CrossFit is like the programming. There's too many people do CrossFit, then own a CrossFit, but don't program it. You know, the best CrossFitters in the world don't actually do CrossFit. They do each individual thing. It's like MMA.
Yeah.
You know, like Conor McGregor doesn't go to MMA class.
Yeah.
He goes to striking.
He works on
specific
skills, specific disciplines, and gets amazing at each of them.
And it's to this day, still the best program CrossFit I've ever seen. I think Andy, big tall fella, brilliant program. It actually well thought out everything, and then that's what started me into like powerlifting, because there was a strength element that I loved. And
sometimes that's the opposite way. Sometimes people get into CrossFit and then they go into powerlifting or Olympic lifting, and they go that way. So you get into CrossFit and then you get into powerlifting. Yeah,
I've done a bit of Olympic lifting and stuff before. It was Grace. Is that the workout? 30 clean
30 clean jerks for time, yeah.
I remember doing
62.5 kilos.
I remember getting that in like 4 minutes 30 in DW, and I remember boking in the event as soon as I finished. And I was like that, like I gave that everything.
Yeah.
And I remember seeing a guy in my gym doing like a minute 30. This first day I was at CrossFit, and I was like,
that's crazy.
That's something.
Yeah.
There's one of the workouts that's like 21:15.9, and it was like deadlifts, thrusters, and then a 400-meter run, 21:15.9. And I can't. If some of those, I remember if something like that.
Yeah.
I remember that 400-meter run. I in my head, I was like, I'll take about 50, 60 seconds. I think that first 400-meter took me 8 minutes. Yeah. I was goosed. Absolutely goosed. I was like, this. Anyway, so that started me off in powerlifting and stuff, into strength training. I think I kind of stuck with that kind of training for a long time. It was like powerlifting, power building and stuff. Like I worked on oil rigs, so you're doing like 12-hour days. All I did was like gym, work, probably gym again at night because I was bored.
Yeah.
Went to bed. And then when I joined, we started being a PT. I was a PT out of spite. I've always hated PTs because it was always just like, oh, this works, why? Oh, because it's for legs.
Yeah, no explanations, no...
Yeah, like last leg day.
Just I said to do it, kind of thing.
Yeah, like on his leg day. Why? Okay, so you're doing like leg press. Why leg press? Oh, it's leg day. It's going to beat your legs. Oh, it's going to be a hard section. I'm like, makes no sense. None of that makes any sense.
There's no reason.
So, yeah. So someone I knew at the time was getting PT, and I was like, that's wrong. I was like, oh, why don't you be a PT then? And I was like, right, I will
be a PT then.
Right, I will. When I first started, I was a terrible PT. I want everyone that came in, all doing power building, you know.
Yeah.
That was what we're doing. And then I remember reading a book. It took me 6 months to break £100 a week as PT.
Yeah.
It was grim.
Yeah.
It was absolutely grim. And then
it's hard. You were in like a was it what gym you in first? Pure Gym, was it?
Pure Gym, only gym I've been in.
You were in it, so like you're kind of competing against other trainers to pick up, maybe more experienced trainers to pick up clients as well. So it's like
the club had just opened up about eight months before I joined. All the PTs were quite busy, and they're all quite like individually very good at what they were doing. Like the bodybuilder was good, he did, and the SSC guy was good, he did.
Yeah. And
I was joining, I was this random punters. I had no idea about anything. I was like, okay, right. So I tended to get loads of the clients that I kind of got were like the broken ones, injuries, like mental health stuff, eating disorder. I got like a whole like bag of like stuff that was pretty much the ones that like nobody else really wanted to train. Because you want to do bodybuilding, you go to bodybuilding.
Yeah.
You want to like SSC, you're an athlete, you went to that guy.
Yeah.
So I was one that was kind of left over. I was like, right. So I remember reading the book. It was Ben Coomer's book, I think, actually.
Okay, yeah.
And he talked about one of his first gyms he was in. He was like, this guy in his gym was way worse than PT than him, but he took time to get to know his clients.
Yeah.
Like he spent like say 15 minutes every session walking on a treadmill talking to them.
Yeah.
And some just clicked to me. I was like, that's it. It's people.
Yeah.
So then all of a sudden that was it. The next, I think 6 months later, I was fully booked, and then that was me for the next load of years. It's similar, like, you bounce between being like 20 to 35 sessions, really sitting in and around there.
Yeah.
But then that's when I really get into personal growth and development. I was like, okay, this book worked. So like, okay, what's the next one?
Yeah.
One of my highest needs is growth. If I can't get better at something, I'll lose interest.
I know, yeah.
So I like, if we were like, yeah, let's go play tennis tomorrow, I'd be up all night watching tennis videos.
Prepare for it.
I get a tennis coach, everything. I'm just one of those people, if I'm going to do something, I want to be good at it.
Do it well.
And I'm just obsessed about over this kind of stuff and doing courses. Like, in my head, I have a number that I pay myself. Everything over that, I'll put in the courses.
Yeah.
And then learn more and more about it. And like, it was like 10-day courses in S&C. Or 10-day courses by an S&C. I don't know, whatever. And it was fascinating to hear their program and stuff, because it was just like, okay, why are you doing this? Is that too much? Is that too little? What's the purpose of this?
Yeah.
Everything had a rhyme and a reason and a box to tick. And it was almost like if I wrote your programming up on a huge whiteboard, I could draw a string and I could tell you what you're going to do.
Yeah.
Like 6 months from now, I can tell you what you're going to do.
Yeah.
6 months ago, I can relate it right back to this.
Yeah.
You know, this is why you're doing this. This is why you're doing this.
Yeah.
Like the reason you're doing the first exercise dictates the second exercise, dictates the third exercise. Yeah. You know, and like micro, meso, macro cycles, quad cycle if you're an Olympian. You know, like so everything just makes sense and it's fascinating. I was like, but this is extremely low volume.
Yeah.
And then I found with all the power lifts and stuff, for me to lift the most weight maximally, every muscle has to be working proportionally to every other muscle.
Yeah.
Now, when you get someone with an injury like back pain, every muscle's not working the way it should.
Mm-hmm.
So for me to get someone to squat, say, 150 kilos, was the same as me getting someone with like the back pain.
Mm-hmm.
Like, okay, like this part of your legs are tight, your hips are sitting like this, your abs aren't activating, whatever. But all that stuff you would do with a high-end strength person. So there was a direct correlation between what I was doing with both. I was like, that's really interesting. So then it turned out I was okay. I was getting a bit good at this stuff.
Yeah.
Like did a load of courses and stuff on like psychology, mindset stuff, like asking people the right questions to get the right answers. You know, because like if someone's overweight and I say, right, eat less food. It's like telling an anorexic, okay, eat more food.
Oh.
It's like that's not fixing anything. So I was like, okay, why are you overeating?
Yeah. What's the why? What's the triggers? What's the
a bad day in work? I'm like, okay, so you're eating to relax, you're eating for comfort. I'm like, yeah. It's like, okay, well, what else can we do to relax? Like, oh, I'm making a bath, I go for a walk or this. Okay, right, see, every time you get stressed out, what do? Do that. Then you can comfort eat, that's fine, as long as you do the first thing. And then you naturally just found people didn't really overeat anymore because they found different ways to do things.
Yeah.
People are smart. Like, people know.
Figure out.
It's like, PTs hate the word tone. I'm like, but everyone on the planet knows. If I turn around to my mum and went, oh, I'm going to throw it up, she knows what I mean.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I like it because it brings everyone to the same level. You're meeting people at the level they're at.
Yeah.
I'm not expecting you to understand, like, oh, we're going to decrease our adipose tissue and increase muscular hypertrophy. It's like, no, we're going to turn up.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean the coach is dumber. It's just, you're meeting them where they're at.
Yeah, they're speaking their language sort of thing, yeah.
So now all of a sudden I'm like, right, I don't need you to track all your food because the reason you're overweight is not because you don't know what's healthy. It's because you don't know how to relax. You don't know how to do things yourself.
Yeah.
And then with the S&C kind of program, I was like, you can do very little, get great results, minimal kind of effort, and the consistency. And that's where I sort of came into my own. I was like, right, we could really do this in like a lazy way.
Yeah.
Lazy. But get good results.
Yeah.
But could you keep that up? Yeah. I was like, boom, that was me.
That was it.
Loved it.
Yeah.
And then I always wanted to go online because I always had this idea in my head. I wanted to travel everywhere.
You'd always thought about that whenever you started PT and you always thought online.
I think literally from the get-go, I remember telling my manager, a good friend of mine now, saying like, I want to be online, I want to go online. It took me 5 years to do it. Really like sad day when I did leave and say, no, I've done it, I'm going to go online.
Yeah.
But then when you go online, you're like, right, okay.
So how long have you been online?
Fully online or just online? I've been
so when do you dabble in it? When do you kind of start playing with it?
I did a bit of online coaching for like 3.5-4 years ago.
Yeah.
Very minimal. Like I haven't figured out the systems that I do. And
yeah.
Like very much like because you're in person doing loads of sessions, it's very hard to get time. And then it was January this year where I was like, the first lockdown. I think in my head I was like, oh, only for 4 weeks. I'm like, yeah, be fine.
Yeah.
And then just like 6 months in the house. Like it's mind-boggling.
Yeah.
So the second lockdown was like, oh, it's only for a month. Like, okay, cool. And then at Christmas with another one, I'm like, right, no, I can't just sit in the house this time. Right, I'm going to go online. And then I signed up to Online Training Academy 2, big one.
Yeah.
And then I was like, okay, boom. Then I had an online business. I was like, I remember saying to Elle actually, if I can make, I think it was something like, if I could make I worked, I think, all my bills, everything covered. It was like £1,600 a month. If I can make £1,600 a month, I could leave the gym.
Mm-hmm.
And I did it, and I was like, I'm gonna have notice when we go back.
Yeah.
And then I got really bored sitting in the house because like you no like schedule and nothing to do, and like obviously in lockdown you can socialise.
Yeah.
It's like, no, I'm gonna go back for the banter. And I went back, and I just remember thinking, I'm losing out by being here.
Mm-hmm.
I was like,
you're losing your energy, you're losing your thinking time, and even just the energy you put into your online things, I suppose, as well.
I don't care now. It's just even in the gym with that many members and doing that much stuff, it's emotionally and mentally exhausting.
Yeah. And
then they come home and then have to go online, social media, it's so difficult. It took so much away. I was like, no, right. I actually promised Alice, right, if I go to the gym and I start being negative and complaining about it, I'll know it's my time to leave.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it was very emotional leaving the gym because I think I was one of the longest. It was me and one other guy, Michael. We both started the same day, and everyone else but me and him had left at that point. It was the last two.
Was that like 6 years?
It was just over 5.
So 5 years.
Just over 5. And I remember me I remember sitting and looking at Alan in the face and being like, "That my time's coming." He looked at me, and do you know that look where neither of us had set up, but we both knew it. And it was like, what? And I was like, it's my time. It's coming. Now that's.
So that was when was that this year? Was that March this year or earlier?
What was it? January, February, March,
April this year.
April.
So you've been exclusively online since April this year. And who is it you try to help online? Who's your ideal client? What clients are you trying to reach out to, find you, and you help them and bring them to?
It's really funny actually. I remember starting this OTA too, and I was like, right, I'm gonna train men 22 to 32. Build muscle, stop wasting time in the gym, mental, physical, emotional strength, all around kind of cool stuff. And then almost all of the clients I've gotten since have been female.
Yeah.
And I remember going on the one of the calls and I was like, I don't understand, and the way I'm wording stuff, it's all married, and they're like, I don't know what to say, you're one of the best people we've ever met at motivational interviewing, and you have a huge level of empathy, which really does cater towards, when you sit
that resonates with women more so than
because I found
what you were aiming for.
Men get a lot of challenge and not a lot of support. So, like for instance, if I was programming for you and I said, "Oh, you did a good job, too," you're not used to hearing that from another man. So like, it means something.
Yeah.
Whereas for girls, they get a lot of support. If parents having a bad day,
what less challenge?
Yeah, so they don't get challenged. Girls will be like, "Oh, I feel terrible today," and you get 10 messages from the girl like, "Oh, girl, you're doing great."
So true.
Yeah,
so true.
Whereas if I turn around and went, "No, that was really bad. Like what you did, it was not good enough. You need to do better."
Yeah.
And then you obviously fall out with them for a wee bit, and then they come back and go, "No, that's what I needed to hear." And then all of a sudden, it was just weird. So the moment I would work with like the type A personality, like people on the hamster wheel. It's not the people I need to wrap the door and trail them out of bed. Right? Get out, do something. These are the people that like will go to a class every single day. They'll do the chicken, broccoli and rice, and then they won't get results from it, and then they get really disheartened, demotivated. But it's not that they're not putting in the effort; it's that they just need a little bit of course correction.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I know what you mean. I think sometimes I did a bit of online training. I still do it sometimes. Still have a few online clients at the moment, but I haven't gone exclusively that way. But whenever lockdowns all happened, people were like, "Oh, just do it online." But I was like, it's a completely different clientele.
It's a totally different beast.
It's like almost like going to like a restaurant, like a nice restaurant, and then them telling, just do takeaways. And if it's a nice fine dining restaurant, they're not going to start firing out takeaways. It's completely different than your local shipper. You know what I mean? It's completely different. So I was like, no, the people who come to me face to face have different needs than the people who want to train me online. And she said, there's different needs and different requirements, and so that's why I didn't really go right everyone on now, because it didn't work. And also most people didn't have the equipment, because equipment was through the roof. It was expensive, and gyms were closed. And,
absolutely nuts.
So that was a point of frustration for me with it. But
I think I remember when I went back to the gym for the month. I think it was March, maybe it was the month I went back, and I said, "Look, I only want 5 people."
Yeah.
That's it. Now those 5 people, I think I kept 1.
Yeah.
2 of them I was like, no, absolutely not. They need in-person training.
Yeah.
But like, I'm quite talkative. You can imagine.
No.
Really? You can imagine in the gym, I'm quite distracting. And I was like, look, I have the best intentions, but if we start talking about something, I'm just I love people with energy and passion, and see if you have it, there's just so much enthusiasm.
Yeah, you kind of bounce off them then.
I work with a monk. I had a monk teacher for 6 months there, and when I very first started, he says, like, if you had one word to describe what you want your life to be filled with, what would it be? I want enthusiasm on every day of the week. Enthusiasm. And he's like, I've never heard someone say that before. It's brilliant.
Yeah.
But I was like, it's contagious. If you come in, you're enthusiastic. I might absolutely despise running 5k.
Yeah.
But if you're bouncing off the walls to go for a 5k, I'm picking up on it.
Pick up energy.
This guy's on some. This must be great.
So your monk, was he like Tibetan monk? Was he a local monk?
He was an Ascension monk and a Shaya monk.
Yeah.
A guy called Arjuna Shaya. He was an outdoor instructor in New Zealand and moved over to in England. Brilliant. Highly recommend it. You learn a lot, but like, it's not like learning maths where I can say I learned this algorithm or I learned this. It's very hard to define what you actually learn. I really struggle with it.
Does he struggle to sell it then if he can't like define the?
I had to sell him to train me. It was really weird. He was like, "Yeah, look, man, I think you're fine on your own. Like, you can look up some meditation stuff." I was like, "No, Arjun, I want you to train me. Like, I want you. That's it."
Yeah.
I said, "Are you sure?" And then you're like, "Arjun, no, I want you."
Yeah.
So it was quite actually hard to get him to. You really have to want him.
Yeah.
It kind of reminded me of, like, is it Judaism? If you want to become Jewish, you have to go and the rabbi says no 3 times until they let you do it.
Okay.
To see if you really, really want to do it.
Yeah.
It's something like that. So it's really interesting. But yeah, I agree. Online, totally different beast. I couldn't do an in-person trainer. They would wind me up. There's no like, go away. Let me do something. Like, I'll pay you for the hour. Tell me what to do. Go and get a coffee. Talk to your friends. Get a sandwich or something. I don't know. Entertain yourself. Come back in like an hour.
Yeah.
And like, this is what it is. A good, bad, whatever. Where some people want like an exercise supervisor, PT.
Yeah.
Whereas I think the role of a coach is to ask you questions. It's to make you coach yourself.
Yeah.
You know, like, why did you do that? What do you think you could do better? What mistakes did you make? How would you deal with them again? Kind of stuff. And it's like, I think people get caught up, especially PTs. I remember doing this with the PT I was mentoring. I was like, right, so if I do 1 session a week, it's £30 a week. Like, if I do 2 sessions a week, how much is it? I'm like, oh, well, I'll do it for 50. I'm like, okay, cool. So you think if you double your time with me and I get the same result, it's worth this twice as much?
Yeah.
And I never thought of it that way. It's like, so if I lost a stone, but train me 5 times a week, or if I lost a stone, train me once a week, once a month, you know, you see the disconnect here. My time spent doesn't equal the value you've taken.
Yeah.
People confuse that, I think.
Yeah.
And then you need the people that are able to take the value from online training.
Yeah.
Some people just like having an in-person trainer.
Yeah.
Some people don't really like online. I've had people that cannot deal with the technology.
Yeah.
Because you have to have like a phone, maybe kind of tech savvy. So if you're talking like you're over 50s kind of market, they're probably not that tech savvy.
Yeah.
You know, the people send emails and stuff.
Yeah.
They're not gonna like online training.
I did a podcast there last week that was on online training versus, you know, kind of similarities, differences, drawbacks, benefits, all that. And I was kind of saying, like, well, if you can kind of find this, if you find the advert on Facebook or Instagram, whatever, that lets you access online training, did you get a training course to work Instagram or to do Facebook? Like, you figured it out. It's a bit like online training sometimes. Well, sometimes the technology is kind of overhyped. You know, it's like you don't need that much. A lot of people can figure it out sooner or later. But there's benefits and drawbacks, I guess, with them. But what is it you love about online training versus, well, not even versus, just what is it you love about online training? What is it you love about coaching people?
I'm quite I tell people I'm quite a unique coach. I'm quite controlling as a coach. I tell you what to do. Like, I'll tell you how I would do everything, but when I write the program, that's what you do.
That's it.
Whereas like in person, say on a Monday was always squat day in my head. Every Monday, squat day. And then you're in there for say 8 hours back to back. And I'm watching 8 people squat. And I'm like, right, everyone's doing say 5 sets of 5. I maybe spent 6 hours of that day watching people squat. And I was like, it is so, like, you're not, once I taught you how to squat, I don't need to watch you do a squat over and over and over and over and over. Like, you really don't need to watch me doing it. Whereas if I'm like, right, online, here's what you're doing, it costs like a fraction of whatever in person was. Go and do it. I'm not wasting 8 hours of my time watching people squat. But then I can watch all the videos. Everyone video 1 set of squats, I can watch all that in 10 minutes.
I've seen them, yeah.
But give you the same feedback that I would have had I spent an hour with you.
Yeah.
I spent a fraction of the time. You get the same coaching from that. And I don't have to sit there staring at you while you're doing your whole 5 sets of 5 squatting. However, if someone doesn't have the technical capacity to take a bit more time, obviously, But with online coaching, I think the more you go on, the less and less coaching someone needs.
Yeah.
So with me, I charge a bit more for the first 3 months because I'm like, look, we're going to be chit-chatting a lot more, fixing stuff. And then when you get to the point in in-person training where we're just kind of, oh, do the weekend and stuff, I'm like, I don't need to be there anymore.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
so
yeah.
like,
see, there's an independence that kind of develops, and I guess there's independence at the start, and then it kind of flourishes under your coaching, I guess.
yeah, and the idea is I want you to know why I picked this, why this test, why this rep, why this percentages, what this phase of training is for, what we're up to. And once you understand all of that, you're really just being a pest. You're just annoying people while they're training. And I'll just talk all day to them. Or like you start goofing off and doing dumb stuff, or like I have some really funny stories. I had a client once do my Christmas shopping for me.
Brilliant.
You just like.
That was their goal for the week to do your Christmas shopping.
My arch nemesis.
I'm guessing it wasn't online shopping.
No, it wasn't. My arch nemesis is boredom. If I'm bored, I'll start running bad. I just start doing really dumb stuff, just messing about and all. And it's highly entertaining, but like you're not getting much more value. Which I think online you can condense the time period in which you put in the value.
Yeah.
But you need a kind of person that can take the value from it.
Yeah, extract it, exactly.
And I do think it is like physiotherapy, I wouldn't really say you could do online.
Yeah.
Or if someone has some like
poke yourself here.
Yeah, like, feel around, you feel this, you feel a wee lump, yeah, okay, right there, go back a couple inches below that, yeah, okay, poke there, what's that like? Okay, you can't, it has to do. So I think some people, it is just in person, some people online works a lot better for. It is, I do think there is an ethics to online coaching where you say, okay, I don't think it's going to work for you, or, you know, and I do think I'm not the right coach for everyone.
Yeah.
I do think a lot of people aren't the right client for me.
Yeah.
I.e., like, you're kind of like, you might have the best client in the world, and if I try and coach them, I'm like, they're doing my head in.
Yeah, it's different personality sometimes, isn't it? I think that was one of the things I actually talked about last week in that podcast was, you know, like, who's the best PT in the world, who's the best coach in the world? It's like, who's best, Messi or Ronaldo, or who, BMW is your, you know,
flavor of chocolate.
Yeah, like, they all do a job, and sometimes it's just personal preference, and it's, you know,
what's the best tool in the toolbox?
Yeah.
Well, it depends what we're doing.
Yes, sometimes you're doing how personalities combine and clash and things like that. So yeah. What about your own goals? What are your own goals currently for training?
I really strong. I want to feel more athletic. I want to have more energy, just be a bit fitter. I like to drop a little weight, but I also like doing loads of fun stuff. So I don't really like. I want to go to dinner. I don't want to be that person. Like,
can't have dessert or can't have starter. Yeah.
I'm not a big dessert person.
No.
I'd order 2 mains rather than starter. Starter, main, dessert.
Two sirloins.
Yeah. I broke my nose so many times where even before Corona I didn't really smell much, so my taste was always bad.
Yeah.
Like the texture of food does it.
Yeah.
But it's why I've never done like meal plans or anything like that. I'm a very bland eater. I love Rice Krispies. They don't taste like anything, but there's a crisp.
The feeling in the pop snack.
Yeah, snap, crackle, and pop.
Snap, yeah. It's been that long since I've had it.
Well, I'm really boring eater. So like weight loss to me is like really like me. I could forget to eat.
Yeah.
But obviously, like, I think it comes with like my height and stuff. Obviously, my calorie intake's gonna be so big.
Yeah, you can get away with a bit more than.
Oh, this is one of my biggest pet peeves in the world. Oh, my biggest pet peeves. This is a good story. There's a girl came in the period one time and said, "Oh, can I use your scales?" So I jumped on the scales. They come up like whatever, 18, 19 stone or was. She's like, "Oh, I thought you would be 12." And I went, "She doesn't know how offensive that actually is." She got on the scales and it was like 12 stone. I was like, "Oh, I thought you'd be 19 stone." Obviously, she kicks off now and it's like, "Oh, whatever, how dare you?" Puts her in the office. And we're sitting there. And so obviously at this point, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna wind this woman up. I'm really gonna send her nuts because she's just kicking off. Like, you know them like people who just wants to kick off and speak to the manager and stuff.
Looking for an excuse to.
Just tells the manager, "Oh, how dare he called me fat and all that stuff." And I was like, right, listen. I'd never used the word love, but like I knew this was gonna go. So I was like, right, listen, love. You get that. You know, go on a slight calorie deficit, track your food, do Slim World, join Weight Watchers, you can do whatever you want. In 6 months' time, you'll be a totally different person. You can drop 3 stone. So, argument's sake, you're not 3 stone. I've been in the gym, I think at this point, I was like, I've been in the gym like 14 years. As a man, I am lucky to put 1 pound of fat on a month if I eat nutritionally dense foods and well.
Yeah.
If I strength train at the right intensities consistently over a long period of time, I sleep consistently.
Yeah.
You just need to like not eat it. You need to eat a little bit less. Yeah. Nothing else matters. You'll lose weight. You'll be a different person in 6 months. See, in 6 months' time, I'll put 6 pounds on. I think the same person.
Yeah.
14 years it took me to put this weight on. You have the audacity to be offended at me saying to you like that. Like, you've no idea how offensive that is to call a fella skinny. And I was like, if you're overweight, you can. It's not easy, but it's in comparison to putting weight on. I think it's
putting
much.
muscle. And again, at the if you're the sort of person who puts it on, it doesn't put it on easily, then it's even more difficult.
Yeah, it's brutal.
We see a lot of tall guys who are 6'4" plus or whatever, and are bean pools.
We've got a team like at the moment.
Because it's hard to put on. It is hard to put on bulk, and especially if you're that. It's just your genetics. It's going to be harder, and as you say, it's harder than to lose weight for someone. Yeah.
It's like, oh, you have to sit there and not be hungry. It's like, I have to eat until I'm ready to bulk.
Yeah.
Wait until I don't feel like bulking again. Eat until I'm ready to bulk again. Over and over and over and over and over and over and over. I've heard of guys blending chicken with Diet Coke and drinking it.
Yeah.
Just to get calories in. I was like,
crazy.
I was like, you haven't hit the point where you hate food.
Yeah.
I was like, I get to the point where I sprinkle dextrose on the rice just to make my mouth water, so I could physically swallow more food.
Yeah.
And I was like, you get to the point where you eat your dinner and then start chugging whole milk, because if you did the whole milk first, you'd be full quicker.
Yeah.
And I was like, 6 months you'd be a different person. 6 years I might be a different person.
Yeah.
And I was like, I think it's this body dysmorphia thing. There's obviously girls have it bad because you got these supermodels and all. And I'm like, okay, look at that.
Girls only smaller, guys only bigger, that kind of thing.
You got this dude with a 6-pack, he's massive and all, and you're like, that guy might have spent 10 years training to look like that, but that girl might have just starved herself for 6 months and got there. I'm not taking anything away from her, like it still is very...
It's habits. So like, someone who's trying to lose weight, they've developed habits, and it's not just a simple mathematical equation. You're saying, just eat less or eat more, whatever.
That's not my pet peeve.
I mean, it's a lot. There's more to it psychologically, but at the same time, it's easier to not eat than to force feed yourself to eat.
And then you have to train at the right times.
Yeah. Sleep has to be on point.
If you have
a baby in the house, you're not going to get sleep.
Yeah.
If
you're stressed, it affects everything.
Yeah, work,
hydration,
shift work, all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, like all the boxes need to be ticked, and you get a lot less results from it. But you have to be more consistent over a longer period of time.
Yeah.
And it's like, I think everyone's sort of in there like, oh, weight loss is so difficult. I think once you've got grasp how weight loss works and you can get it consistently, and you realise how difficult putting muscle on.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of people when that clicks, you're like, oh, that's why like bodybuilding's on bulk and cut.
Yeah.
The hard bit isn't the cut.
Yeah.
The hard bit's the bulk.
Yeah. Well, if you
and you go over your calories too much, then you get too fat, and then you have to cut.
Yeah.
And you don't go enough calories, you're not going to put it on.
Yeah.
That's
well, like if we currently at the minute, say your build, you want to put on, I don't know, 10 pounds of muscle. How long do you think that would take? It's going to take a long time to do, right?
Yeah, it'd be like a year.
Yeah. If you want to lose 10 pounds of fat,
it
would take less than a year. Let's be honest.
Oh, like I think
you know what I mean?
Like, if I wanted to go for it, and I was
if you're not even racing for it, but yeah, if you're really going nuts on it, like you would do it in a very short space of time. But that kind of
me personally,
puts it in perspective, doesn't it?
Me personally, I'm aiming for 2 to 5 pound a week.
Yeah.
But I'm a big fan of harsh deficits.
Yeah, but you're because you're bigger, you're taller, you're gonna carry more weight better.
And I know all the wee tricks and stuff.
Yeah, there's always ways to lose weight. Yeah.
Like you take the green shakes that gets rid of cravings, then you do crave things, you just feel kind of cold, and then like because of the nature of my job, I can nap in the afternoon, so I can skip breakfast, have one big meal, nap, wake up, eat just before bed.
Yeah. And
one of the biggest things with dads, people struggle to sleep, but if you have like a small like bit of toast or some porridge before we go to bed, it helps you sleep. There's loads of wee dumb tricks.
There's always wee things to do. Yeah.
Whereas like if you work in an office, it's way difficult. But that's just one of my pet peeves, and I think it's I think unless you're a fella that's really struggling to put weight on, that wouldn't be a thing. But see, when you are a fella struggling to put weight on, it really irks me. It really irks me. I think it's like one of those entitlement things. Everyone thinks they're this unique snowflake in life, and you're like, oh, you're not. And the calories in versus calories is one of my biggest pet peeves too, because that is the most simplistic way of looking at it. And it's not wrong. It's just that your calories in and calories out changes so dramatically every day. Yeah. It's not a static number. And then obviously with women's menstrual cycles, every week you're in, out.
And the other thing is as you track them, even if you're tracking them really, really accurately, like your activity level, there's all sorts of things that are going to, and some people they'll use like an algorithm of like thousands of people, and this is what you should have, this should be your calories for your height, your weight, your age, your activity level, blah blah blah. But the best way to do it is to get to know your own body, track it, and track it against yourself. Don't track it against what like MyFitnessPal says as gospel. You want to make sure you're actually tracking it against yourself. I
actually said it. People like, calories. It's like, this is how it works. I'm going to tell you. And this is everyone in the fitness industry does this. Yeah. And if they say no, they're lying. We'll have a very good
Monday to Friday.
Very good guesstimate. Yeah. Like if you're in a coma, this is what you need. Yeah. I'm going to guess what you're having after. Yeah. Then I'm going to trust that you're tracking accurately. And everyone lies. Every single person is lying about their calories. I've heard people go, I eat 600 calories a day. And you're like,
show me.
Yeah, you're just tracking wrong. But it's not like a sinister tracking wrong or lying. It's like they don't even know.
Oh yeah, there's like
I don't even
a bit of sauce here or a drink there. You know, there's always something. And
like, say I buy a kilo of chicken, I'll probably cut like 200 grams off of it. But like, well, I cut 50 grams off or 300. I don't have a clue. But yeah, close enough.
You get like it's better than nothing. It's better than guesstimating and then throwing a dart at it. Dartboard with a blindfold on, like you're probably going to be closer if you have your eyes open and can.
I always say it's like going for a wee in midnight and hoping you piss in the toilet. You're just hoping you're going to hit it. You're probably going to get something in it, like, but
with the light off.
Yeah, you just go in the dark, you just hand the way in the dark and hope you hit the toilet. But it's like everyone's lying about it, right? And it's like, okay, this is best guesstimate. Yeah. This is going to be in and around. Do this, see what happens next week. Okay, next week comes around.
Yeah.
Oh wait, this happened. What should we change anything? Nope. Why? Because we need at least 4 weeks.
Yeah.
We need 4 weeks. At least 4 weeks to know what's going on.
Yeah.
And I'll be honest with you, by that point, you'll be stronger, you'll be fitter, you're neat, your activity outside the gym's going to be up anyway.
Yeah.
So it's not like too much has changed. You need it for another 4 weeks.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, like 6 months in, haven't changed a thing. You've lost a bit of weight, all this stuff. I was like, we can accelerate this, but look, in the last 6 months you've done this, you happy enough? And you're like, yeah. I'm like, that's kind of how it works.
Yeah.
I think I went my last 2 years when I worked in the gym, I didn't check anyone's my fitness pal.
Yeah.
Not once. I was like, because you don't need.
Yeah.
People tell themselves, you're like, oh, how'd you get on? We're like, oh, good. Yeah, good. Yeah, that's what we're going to go for. Right. I did this, and this. I'm like, okay, what are you not telling me? What do you mean? I know you're not telling me something. Like, right, I did this as well. I'm like, okay, right, what can we do better? Oh, this is right, okay, do that. And then the next week you come in, right, what'd you do?
Same thing.
You never need to like check someone.
Check the stats.
Yeah.
I was going to ask you, what are the mistakes you see people making with regards to nutrition or like training? But is that one of the big ones? You just kind of like they kind of don't.
I think the biggest one for me is people have this all or nothing mindset. It has to be 100%.
Yeah.
It's either 0 or 100. Which is where I get this 4 to 10 thing from. Yeah. It's like on your worst possible week, what you can definitely commit to is it 40% effort done. Whereas like, I know so many people that struggle with this. Like my mum does this too. She's like, right, I wanted that. This is what I'm gonna do. Bang, I'm gonna run 4 times a week.
Yeah.
This is what I'm gonna eat. Go out there. Then you get the weekend. I'm like, oh, I'm starving. I was like, yeah, because you went too hard straight off the bat. It's like people trying to run the 800 and sprinting like it's a 100.
Yeah.
Like I'm just gonna hold it. Like
get 100 meters in. And it's like, oh crap. 700 to go.
Yeah, you can't do it. I was like, make it as easy as possible yourself, right? Make it easy.
Yeah.
Okay, only lost half a pound this month. Okay. Let's try and turn that into 1 pound. You know, let's like the goal isn't to lose a stone. The goal is to lose 1 pound 14 times.
Yeah.
One of my really good friends, Richard Crow, he told me that one. He was like,
it's a good one. I like it.
Because he started saying, he was like, oh, we want to do your business and stuff. And I was like, yeah, I'm doing really well. He was like, right, what did you do to get one client that did this? So just do that again.
Do it 40 times.
Yeah, I was like, weight loss is like, he's like, weight loss is like that. The goal is to lose 1 pound. What did you do to lose 1 pound? Do it again.
Again. Keep going.
It's just keep it there. So.
That's the biggest one you would see people making. Was that?
You ever listen to Jordan Peterson?
Yeah.
Big fan. I love him. I think he gets a lot of flack.
Oh yeah. But anybody's doing anything productive generally does. But
like one of the best questions I've ever heard him say was, "What can you do to make your worthless existence slightly less terrible?" But the question is meeting someone where they're at. Like if you meet someone that's like in a deep depression, tell me like, how can we make today great? Like, no, okay, right, you're worthless. Today's terrible. How can we make it less terrible? How do we go from 0 to 1?
Yeah.
How can we make your like super overweight, super unfit person slightly less terrible? Oh, I could go for a 10-minute walk. Perfect, done. That's it, done. Okay, next day. How do we go from 1 to 2?
Yeah.
How do we go 2 to 3? How do we go 3 to 4? Like, let's go up the gears. Whereas people want to go from like 0 to 60.
Yeah.
Just straight out, you know?
Yeah, that's good. What about... Yeah, so that's the debate. What about... Is there any fitness myths that you would like to debunk right now? Is there anything that stands out that you think this is a little nonsense?
So, I kind of alluded to it earlier on. It's like everything in fitness is kind of pliable. Whereas people have this like... If I want people to buy into your program, like, oh, it's just like extreme shred. Everyone gives it a dumb name. Like V-Shred, do you remember V-Shred and all? You give all these stupid names. It's like, oh, this is cluster training, or this is this, and like all this stupid stuff. It's like, there's so many variables, and all of it can change all of the time. Like, you doing 8 reps doesn't mean your muscle doesn't. You can build reps at 3 reps. You can build muscle at 3 reps, you can build muscle at 20 reps. It doesn't really matter. And people get fixated on this, like, micro level.
Magic number sort of thing.
Yeah, like all these, like, this is the bang, this is the perfect amount of calories, this is the perfect amount of this is the best amount of this. Like, everything's so highly individual. And to be honest, even if it's not individual, it doesn't really matter too much. Yeah. Like, if I give 100 people the same program, 100 people are going to get different varying levels of results. It doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
And I think people put too much focus on the food and the training, and they don't fix like the background, like mindset stuff, or like
recovery and the rest.
Yeah,
and
you get people going to the gym 5 days a week. How
yeah.
How long do you sleep for? Oh, like 5 hours. Like, how much
Yeah.
water do you drink? Like, it's like,
Yeah.
you know, let's. What was the way I heard it?
I did that when I was younger. And I was like,
You're trying to fix the radio when you have a flat tire. Like,
Yeah.
let's look at the big things here.
Yeah. I did that when I was younger as well. Like at uni, I was just like training every day, eating like a beast. Just force feeding myself.
Those were the days.
No sleeping.
Yeah.
No sleep. Catch up sleep the weekends. Like water, not great. But yeah, I know what you mean. I lived that.
Yeah, it was just all the dumb stuff.
Yeah.
Like I remember someone, it was a quote someone, I think it was Stan Efferding, was like, if you're taking creatine and sleeping 5 hours a day, you're an idiot. It's like you're going to get creatine to 3 to 5% strength increase, but you're not going to sleep.
It's like people taking multivitamins and not eating their veggies or not eating.
Oh, hydration's one.
Yeah.
There's a couple actually. Breakfast not the most healthy meal of the day. The study on breakfast after World War II was done by Kellogg's, a breakfast cereal company.
Yeah.
And then the 8 glasses of water a day thing was debunked quite a while ago. I can't remember her name, but it was the one that wrote the Salt Fix. And 8 glasses of water was found by a study funded by water companies. And it was like, people are like, oh, breakfast is the healthiest meal of the day. I'm like, yeah, but
So
like
it's Kellogg's.
Yeah, but it's also like look at the word break fast.
Yeah.
So like my break fast might be at 2 in the
Yeah, it
afternoon.
can be different. So
It's
that's
like,
why, like, I guess the intermittent fasting is such a big thing at the minute. Everyone's just finding success
just
in
skip
that.
it a meal.
Yeah,
Skip
it's
lunch.
not that complicated. It's still, calories in, calories out, etc. But you're still kind of.
I just play devil's advocate with this stuff. We're like, oh, breakfast is the healthiest meal of the day, or like intermittent fasting. Like, okay,
Yeah.
what about Muslims in Ramadan? What like they eat in very limited hours, but I guarantee you there's lots of them are super duper fit. What about them? And like, oh, you can't do this. Oh, what about this person? This person does this. You're like.
There's always an exception, isn't there, to prove something?
Yeah, it's like people get caught up in all these dumb things. Well, there's the principles, like progressive overload.
Yeah.
Your calories in, calories out.
If
Whatever
you're
way.
optimal, and then there's less optic, and then
Yeah.
there's certain genetic freaks that are gonna kind of.
With good, better, best.
Yeah.
Best possible outcome. You sleep 9 hours a day, hit this many calories, train like this. Can you do it all the time? No, right? We're not even gonna talk about that.
Yeah.
And it's like I think I've said a lot to my guys. Like, did you sleep 8 hours? No. If you don't sleep 8 hours, I'm happy to skip the gym and sleep an extra hour. That's what I want.
Yeah.
Give me one good training session a week and sleep well.
Sleep better.
And I'll take that.
Yeah.
It's
a different approach, isn't it? I think a lot of people don't think of it in that way, but it's.
I think it's a really common sense thing.
Yeah, it's common sense and it's a long haul. It's not like a short term kind of fix. It's a
compounding interest. You don't invest.
Build it.
You don't buy a Bitcoin this week and then sell it because you made like £2. Like you buy a Bitcoin now, wait 20 years and then you sell it. You get loads.
Yeah.
Or like whatever investments. Like I don't know if keep up with Bitcoin. It's mostly.
Yeah, Bitcoin's probably dropped since we started this sentence. It's probably, or gone up. $100.
Watch Elon Musk's Twitter. That's what you know to buy.
Yeah. He just pumps it up or dumps it.
I think it's great. Oh, that's like the social psychology. That's fascinating.
Isn't it? How does it get done though?
I think Tesla made more money this year already.
Bitcoin.
From Bitcoin than they will from selling cars.
Yeah.
I think it was really early in the year.
They're running out of money and stuff, aren't they?
Well, I quite like. I'm going to go down a bit of a rabbit hole here about finances, but it's like right. I'm trying to think how conspiracy theorists going to go on this. Well, you think of it like, universities and education system was built to create smarter, more intelligent workers that can handle more jobs, work more efficiently. Okay, so the business owner is going to make money. There's a book called Why A grade students work for C grade students. So you create this system like, okay, I don't lose smart workers. Do what you're told.
Yeah.
Do your job.
It's a school system.
See it for a house. Yeah. There's a bit with the church and they're like, okay, we'll give you someone to lead you. We'll give you like someone to pray for you. And it's this like very subtle implication of like, do what you're told. Use your sheep. Do what you're told. And it's like one of my best friends is probably like one of those wealthy people I know. He was like a 3-bedroom house just off Malone Road, no mortgage, nothing. It can't do the alphabet.
Yeah.
He literally, we make fun of him all the time for it. Like, okay, stand in the shower, bowl, sing, do your ABCs, he gets it wrong like 90% of the time.
Yeah.
But then you turn around, someone's laughing, going, right, but you're doing a degree, you're in massive debt, say you're earning 30 grand a year.
Yeah.
He doesn't even have a mortgage and he owns a house.
Yeah.
And you're going to pay your mortgage for the next 30 years. Yeah. And you're making fun of him.
I know. He hires the people that can do the alphabet for him.
But it's this whole education system where you get all the way down and like you for instance, you pay your mortgage, say your house is worth 150 grand, you pay like 100 grand's worth of interest. The bank takes your 250 grand, say you paid them, lends it out to 10 people because they don't have to hand physical money anymore. So there's more money being lent out. All 10 of those people now pay back to the bank another like 100 grand each of interest.
Yeah.
So the bank's just made money off having money. They've lent out your money.
Yeah.
And then did it again, and then again, and then it's a whole like system. But I think Bitcoin's fascinating because it decentralizes the money.
Yeah. Well, Kyle, that's nearly an hour and 20 minutes we've been chatting now. Thank you so much for it. You've given us so much to think about. So many good tips. And if there's anything you'd like to know about Kyle or his coaching, you'd like to get in contact with him and hire him as your coach. His email is kylegregpt@icloud.com.
Very creative.
Yeah.
Very
it's easy to remember. He's on Facebook as well, Kyle Gregg Coach. Instagram, Kyle Gregg Coach as well. So search for those. Is there anything else you'd like to add, Kyle, or is that? We covered everything there.
Yeah.
Even finance, word finance, education.
I love talking about concepts and stuff like philosophies. Like I think anthropology was one of the most interesting fields I'd ever want to do. Most useless degree ever. But
we might get back for part 2 and thinking about that.
Oh, it's brilliant. Pet peeves would be one I could talk about days. I have so many funny
There's
stories.
another topic, yeah.
Oh, so many funny stories. People doing dumb stuff in the gym. I've seen a guy build a pyramid in the gym before to make a decline bench. While the decline bench was about 2 feet from him.
Wow.
And I mean, like, we sat watching him. I remember us sitting there and like, this is on one of our insurances, but I don't want to stop him just yet. I just want to see how far he's going to go. Realize the decline bench is there. Oh, so bad.
Get your phone out and video it.
No, don't get video it. Like, GDPR and all that stuff.
Well, that's us. I'm getting hungry and I need a pee, so we're going to call it a day there. Thank you very much, Kyle.
Thanks for having me.
Good chatting.
Bye, everyone.